A college student walks up to a farmer and asks, "Excuse me, sir, I couldn't help but notice that on the far north end of your property, I saw some cottonwood trees. Would it be okay if I go and harvest myself a few bags?" The farmer scratches his head and says, "Everybody knows you can't get cotton from a cottonwood tree." "Well, sir, I am an educated man, and I think I can." The farmer allows him to go, and a few hours later the student comes back with 2 overstuffed bags. "See, sir, I told you I'm educated." The farmer is amazed. A few weeks later, the same college student comes up the drive and says, "Excuse me, sir, but on the west end of your property, I saw some honeysuckle, and I was wondering if it would be okay to get a few jars of honey." The farmer says, "Come on, son. Everyone knows you can't get jars of honey from honeysuckle, but go ahead." A few hours later, the student returns with 2 big jars of honey. "See, sir, I've told you I'm educated." A few weeks later, the student returns a 3rd time. "Excuse me, sir, I couldn't help but notice that on the far south end of your property, you have some pussy willows." "Son," the farmer says, "let me grab my hat." Once there was this judge who just sentenced a man. The man asked the judge, "Hypothetically, what would happen if I called you a motherfucker?" The judge answered, "If you were to call me a motherfucker, then I would sentence you for contempt of the court, and you would spend the night in jail." "All right," said the man. "But what if I was just thinking it?" "I have no authority on what's in your head. You're free to think whatever you please." "In that case, Your Honor, I think that you're a motherfucker." 3 men die and go to heaven. St. Peter meets them and starts reviewing their files. He starts talking to the first guy. "I see that you lived a good life, but you cheated on your wife 30 times. That's not very good, but not bad enough to send you to hell. So you can stay in heaven, but you'll have to be driving around in a 40-year-old beat-up truck as a punishment, so you're free to go." He moves on to the second guy. "You lived a good life, but you cheated on your wife 10 times. Well, it isn't too bad, so you can stay in heaven, but your ride will be a 20-year-old Toyota. It's not glamorous, but hey, you shouldn't have cheated." Finally, he starts talking to the third guy. "Holy crap, you lived a good life and never cheated on your wife. Well, my friend, you deserve this brand new Ferrari. Go on, enjoy heaven." A month passes and the 3 guys meet up. The first 2 guys are really enjoying heaven, despite the fact that they're driving crappy cars. But the third guy is really sad. So they ask him, "You're in heaven driving a Ferrari. What could you possibly be sad about?" "Well, on my way here, I saw my wife on roller skates." John decided to go skiing with his buddy, Keith, so they loaded up John's minivan and headed north. After driving for a few hours, they got caught in a terrible blizzard, so they pulled into a nearby farm and asked the attractive lady who answered the door if they could spend the night. "I realize it's terrible weather out there, and I have this huge house all to myself, but I'm recently widowed," she explained, "and I'm afraid the neighbors will talk if I let you stay in my house." "Don't worry," John said. "We'll be happy to sleep in the barn, and if the weather breaks, we'll be gone at first light." The lady agreed, and the 2 men found their way to the barn and settled in for the night. Come morning, the weather had cleared, and they got on their way and enjoyed a great weekend of skiing. But about 9 months later, John got an unexpected letter from an attorney. It took him a few minutes to figure it out, but he finally determined that it was from the attorney of that attractive widow he had met on the skiing weekend. He dropped in on his friend Keith and asked, "Keith, do you remember that good-looking widow from the farm we stayed at on our skiing holiday about 9 months ago?" "Yes, I do," said Keith. "Did you, happen to get up in the middle of the night, go up to the house and pay her a visit?" "Well, yes," Keith said, a little embarrassed about being found out. "I have to admit that I did." "And did you happen to give her my name instead of telling her your name?" Keith's face turned beet red, and he said, "Yeah, look, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm afraid I did. Why do you ask?" Well, she just died and left me everything. A hunter kills and eats a bald eagle and is arrested for violating the Endangered Species Act. He pleads guilty and throws himself on the mercy of the court. "Your Honor," the hunter said, "I had no idea that it was illegal to kill and eat a bald eagle. If you let me go, I'll never do it again." "You've committed a very serious crime," the judge replies, "but you clearly weren't aware of the law, so I'm willing to overlook it this one time. However, before I let you go, I'm going to ask you to do one thing." "Anything, Your Honor," the hunter replies. "What is it?" The judge says, "It's been illegal to kill a protected species for many years, so very few people have ever eaten a bald eagle. For the record, can you please tell everyone what a bald eagle tastes like?" The hunter thinks for a moment and then replies, "It tastes pretty good. Kind of like a cross between a spotted owl and a condor." Two beggars are sitting on a sidewalk in Rome. One is wearing a large cross, has rosary beads in his hand, and has a picture of the Virgin Mary. The other is wearing a kippah and tzitzit, and has a beard and side curls. The first is getting tons of money, but the second is hardly getting any. A priest comes to the second beggar and says, "You know, you'd probably get more money if you weren't so openly Jewish. People see the two of you and choose to support their religion by giving to the Christian beggar." The first beggar turns to the second and says, "Hey, look who's trying to teach the Goldstein brothers marketing." A farmer went to a local bar and ordered a glass of champagne. The woman sitting next to him said, "How about that? I just ordered champagne, too." "What a coincidence," the farmer said. "This is a special day for me. I am celebrating." "This is a special day for me, too. I am also celebrating," said the woman. "What a coincidence," said the farmer. As they clinked glasses, he added, "What are you celebrating?" "My husband and I have been trying to have a child, and today my gynecologist told me that I am pregnant." "What a coincidence," said the man. "I'm a chicken farmer, and all last year my hens were infertile, but today they are all laying eggs again." "That's great," said the woman. "How did your chickens become fertile?" "I used a different cock," he replied. The woman smiled, clinked his glass, and said, "What a coincidence." A boy goes to his father and says, "Dad, I have a crush." The father says, "Well, great, who is it?" The boy says it's our neighbor's daughter from across the street. The father goes, "Ooh, sorry, bud, but you can't date that one. Don't tell your mother, but she's actually your sister." A few days later, the son comes back and says, "Father, I have another crush." The father goes, "Great, who is it?" The son goes, "It's our other neighbor's daughter a few blocks from here." The father goes, "Ooh, sorry, bud, you can't date that one. She's your sister, too." The son, crying, goes to his mother and says, "I can't date anyone because Dad says they are my sisters." The mother says, "Don't worry, son. You can date anyone you want." The son asks why. The mother says, "Because he's not your father." Wife was busy packing her clothes. Husband, "Where are you going?" Wife, "I'm moving to my mother." Husband also starts packing his clothes. Wife, "Now where are you going?" Husband, "I'm also moving to my mother's." Wife, "And what about the kids?" Husband, "Well, I guess if you are moving to your mother and I'm moving to my mother, they should move to their mother. Two men and a woman are stranded on an island after a plane crash. Resourceful, they waste no time, build a house, find food and water, and globally have it good. After 1 month, the woman goes to the two men and says, "Okay, guys, let's be frank. I have my needs, you have your needs. Let's do it. We'll take turns. One day it's you," she says to the first guy, "and the other day, it's the other." And so they have a whale of a time taking turns, enjoying their business together for 1 whole month. However, unfortunately, the woman dies after that month because of a rotten banana or whatever. The two men mourn the loss of their playmate and partner for the following week. Then one man goes to the other and says, "Okay, man, let's be frank. I have my needs, You have your needs, let's do it. We'll take turns. One day it's you, and the other day it's me. And so they have a good time taking turns, enjoying their business together for one whole month. The first man then goes to the other and says, "Okay, man, I need to talk to you." "Yeah, me too, actually. We had a fun month, but I think we should stop." "Yeah, I felt this way too. I feel what we're doing is not natural." "That's right. Let's stop." So they nod their heads in common understanding. The second man then says, "Well then, shall we bury her?" A boy was delivering papers to an apartment house. While there, a stunning young woman came out of the apartment next to the mailboxes wearing only a robe. The boy smiled at the young woman and she started up a conversation with him. As they talked, her robe slipped open and it was obvious that she had nothing else on. The poor kid broke into a sweat trying to maintain eye contact. After a few minutes of flirting, she placed her hand on his arm and said, "Let's go to my apartment. I hear someone coming." He followed her into her apartment. She closed the door and leaned against it, allowing her robe to fall off completely. Now nude, she purred at him. "What would you say is my best feature?" Flustered and embarrassed, he finally squeaked, "It has to be your ears." Astounded and a little hurt, she asked, "My ears? Look at these brats. They are a full 38 inches and 100% natural. I work out every day and my ass is firm and solid. I have a 28-inch waist. Look at my skin, not a blemish anywhere. How can you think that the best part of my body is my ears?" Clearing his throat, he stammered, "Outside, when you said you heard someone coming, that was me." He stormed to his wife in the kitchen and announced, "From now on, you need to know that I am the man of this house and my word is law. You will prepare me a gourmet meal tonight, and when I'm done eating my meal, you will serve me a scrumptious dessert. After dinner, you are going to go upstairs with me, and we will have the kind of sex that I want. Afterwards, you are going to draw me a bath so I can relax. You will wash my back and towel me dry and bring me my robe. Then you will massage my feet and hands. Then tomorrow, guess who's going to dress me and comb my hair?" The wife replied, "The funeral director would be my first guess." I recently had lunch with two of my unmarried friends. One is engaged, one is a mistress, and I have been married for 20+ years. We were chatting about our relationships and decided to amaze our men by greeting them at the door wearing only a black bra, stiletto heels, and a mask over our eyes. We agreed to meet in a few days to exchange notes. Here is how it all went. My engaged friend. The other night when my boyfriend came over, he found me with a black leather bodice, tall stilettos, and a mask. He saw me and said, "You are the woman of my dreams. I love you." Then we made passionate love all night long. The mistress. Me too. The other night I met my lover at my apartment and I was wearing a raincoat, and under it only the black bra, heels, and mask over my eyes. When I opened the raincoat, he didn't say a word, but he started to tremble. And we had wild sex all night. My story. When my husband came home, I was wearing the black bra, black stockings, stilettos, and a mask over my eyes. When he came in the door and saw me, he said, "What's for dinner, Zorro?" A DEA officer stopped at our farm yesterday. He said, "I need to inspect your farm for illegal drug growing." I said, "Okay, but don't go in that field over there." The DEA officer verbally exploded, saying, "Mister, I have the authority of the federal government with me." Hey. Reaching into his rear pants pocket, the arrogant officer removed his badge and shoved it in my face. "See this badge? This badge means I am allowed to go wherever I wish, on any land, no questions asked or answers given. Have I made myself clear? Do you understand?" I nodded politely, apologized, and went about my chores. A short time later, I heard loud screams, looked up, and saw the DEA officer running for his life, being chased by my big old mean bull. With every step, the bull was gaining ground on the officer, and it seemed likely that he'd sure enough get gored before he reached safety. The officer was clearly terrified. I threw down my tools, ran to the fence, and yelled at the top of my lungs, "Your badge! Show him your badge!" I was standing somewhere and minding my business when I sighted a slay queen on one corner munching shawarma. The shawarma looked so good that I began to imagine myself eating it instead. "Oh, Mo, see as my gender day enjoy, oh, my own na, when na. How wish na me hold that shawarma now, so. I for chop em small, make a no quick finish," I muttered uncontrollably to myself as I salivated. Then I remembered that I had the money to buy my own shawarma, too. But as I took a step further, my village people whispered to me, "J-Max, Shebi, that money you won will be used to buy shawarma so it can reach 10 cups of Gari, which would be enough for you and your children, chop, or even to buy Cerelac for your baby." That's how I ended up at Iya Basira's shop buying Gari instead of shawarma. Know who I offend? Ooh, I know a lot of mothers can relate to this. Upon arriving home, a husband was met at the door by his sobbing wife. Tearfully, she explained, "It's the pharmacist. He insulted me terribly this morning on the phone. I had to call multiple times before he would even answer the phone." Immediately, the husband drove downtown to confront the chemist and demand an apology. Before he could say more than a word or two, the chemist told him, "Now, just a minute. Listen to my side of it. This morning the alarm failed to go off, so I was late getting up. I went without breakfast and hurried out to the car just to realize that I'd locked the house with both house and car keys inside and had to break a window to get my keys. Then, driving a little too fast, I got a speeding ticket. Later, when I was about 3 blocks from the store, I had a flat tire. When I finally got to the store, a bunch of people were waiting for me to open up. I got the store opened and started waiting on these people all the time the darn phone was ringing." He continued, "Then I had to break a roll of 10-pence coins against the cash register drawer to make change, and they spilled all over the floor. I had to get down on my hands and knees to pick up the coins, and the phone were still ringing. When I came up, I cracked my head on the open cash drawer, which made me stagger back against a showcase with a bunch of perfume bottles on it. Half of them hit the floor and broke." Meanwhile, the phone is still ringing with no let-up, and I finally got back to answer it. "It was your wife. She wanted to know how to use a rectal thermometer. And believe me, mister, as God is my witness, all I did was tell her." A woman accompanied her husband to the doctor's office. After his checkup, the doctor called the wife into his office alone. He said, "Your husband is suffering from a very severe stress disorder. If you don't follow my instructions carefully, your husband will surely die. Each morning, fix him a healthy breakfast. Be pleasant at all times. For lunch, make him a nutritious meal. For dinner, prepare an especially nice meal for him. Don't burden him with chores. Don't discuss your problems with him. It will only make his stress worse. Do not nag him. Most importantly, make love to him regularly. If you can do this for the next 10 months to a year, I think your husband will regain his health completely." On the way home, the husband asked his wife, "What did the doctor say?" "He said you're going to die," she replied. During lunch at work, I ate 3 plates of beans, which I know I shouldn't. When I got home, my husband seemed excited to see me and exclaimed delightedly, "Darling, I have a surprise for dinner tonight." He then blindfolded me and led me to my chair at the dinner table. I took a seat, and just as he was about to remove my blindfold, the telephone rang. He made me promise not to touch the blindfold until he returned and went to answer the call. The beans I had consumed were still affecting me, and the pressure was becoming unbearable, so while my husband was out of the room, I seized the opportunity, shifted my weight to one leg, and let one go. It was not only loud, but it smelled like a fertilizer truck running over a skunk in front of a garbage dump. I took my napkin from my lap and fanned the air around me vigorously. Then, shifting to the other leg, I ripped off 3 more. The stink was worse than cooked cabbage. Keeping my ears carefully tuned to the conversation in the other room, I went on releasing atomic bombs like this for another few minutes. The pleasure was indescribable. Eventually, the telephone farewells signaled the end of my freedom, so I quickly fanned the air a few more times with my napkin, placed it on my lap, and folded my hands back on it, feeling very relieved and pleased with myself. My face must have been the picture of innocence when my husband returned, apologizing for taking so long. He asked me if I had peeked through the blindfold, and I assured him I had not. At this point, he removed the blindfold, and 12 dinner guests seated around the table with their hands to their noses chorused, "Happy birthday!" A 54-year-old woman had a heart attack and was taken to the hospital. While on the operating table, she had a near-death experience. Seeing God, she asked, "Is my time up?" God said, "No, you have another 43 years, 2 months and 8 days to live." Upon recovery, the woman decided to stay in the hospital and have a facelift, liposuction, implants, and a tummy tuck. She even had someone come in and change her hair color and brighten her teeth. Since she had so much more time to live, she figured she might as well make the most of it. After her last operation, she was released from the hospital. While crossing the street on her way home, she was hit and killed by an ambulance. Arriving in front of God, she demanded, "I thought you said I had another 43 years. Why didn't you pull me from out of the path of the fast-moving ambulance?" 3 friends married women from different parts of the world. The first man married a Greek girl. He told her that she was to do the dishes and house cleaning. It took a couple of days, but on the 3rd day, he came home to see a clean house and dishes washed and put away. The second man married a Thai. He gave his wife orders that she was to do all the cleaning, dishes, and cooking. The first day he didn't see any results, but the next day he saw it was better. By the 3rd day he saw his house was clean, the dishes were done, and there was a huge dinner on the table. The third man married a girl from Newfoundland, Canada. He ordered her to keep the house cleaned, dishes washed, lawn mowed, laundry washed, and hot meals on the table for every meal. He said the first day he didn't see anything, and the second day he didn't see anything either, but by the 3rd day some of the swelling had gone down and he could see a little out of his left eye, and his arm was healed enough that he could fix himself a sandwich and load the dishwasher. He still has some difficulty when he pees. A doctor and engineer entered a chocolate store. As they were busy looking around, the doctor stole 3 chocolate bars. As they left the store, the doctor said to the engineer, "Man, I'm the best thief ever. I stole 3 chocolate bars and no one saw me. You can't beat that." The engineer replied, "Okay, you want to see something better? Let's go back to the store and I'll show you real stealing." So they both went up to the counter and the engineer said to the shop boy, "Hey, would you like to see some magic?" The shop boy replied, "Yes." The engineer said, "Give me 1 chocolate bar." The shop boy gave him one and he ate it. He asked for the second and he ate that one as well. He asked for the third, which he also ate too. The shop boy asked, "Okay, what are you trying to pull here? Where's the magic?" The engineer replied, "Check in my friend's pocket. You'll find all 3 chocolate bars." I was bored, so I decided to have a phone conversation with a scammer instead of just hanging up. Me: "Hello." Scammer: "Hello. This is Bob Bobson from Microsoft Support. We are seeing a lot of virus activity from your device." Me: "Oh no, my device? Are you sure?" Scammer: "Oh yes, we have many reports." Me: "Oh geez, how can I fix it?" Scammer: "It's okay, sir. We can help you right now. Are you in front of your device, sir?" Me: "Yes, I was just about to use it. I'm glad you called." Scammer: Yes, sir, we are going to help you. Can you please push the start button? Me. I think it's already on. Scammer. Okay, sir. Now you want to click on control panel. Me. I don't see that. Scammer. Do you see a bunch of information above the start button? Me. Yes. Scammer. That is your control panel. Me. Wow, I didn't realize it had a name. Not Microsoft support. Yes, sir, now press on Internet options. Me. Yeah, I definitely don't see any Internet options. I don't think I purchased that feature. This is just a cheap one. Hitter. They all have the Internet, sir. Press the start button again. Me. Okay, it's the same as before. Scammer. That's okay, sir. We are going to restart your device. Can you please turn it off? Me. I don't know how. I've never turned it off. Since I bought it, it just kind of stays on all the time. Scammer. There must be an off button on your device. How do you stop it when it's running? Me. In those cases, I usually press the big button beneath Stop Cancel. Scammer. Okay, sir, please press that button. Me. Okay. Scammer. Is your device off? Me. No, the door popped open. Scammer. Door? Is there a disk inside the door? Me. No, there's a virus. Scammer. Why is there a virus in your computer? Me. Computer? Oh, so sorry, I thought you said this was microwave support. Scammer. Hang up. A lady goes to her priest one day and tells him, Father, I have a problem. I have 2 female parrots, but they only know how to say one thing. What do they say? The priest inquired. They say, Hi, we're hookers. Do you want to have some fun? That's obscene, the priest exclaimed. Then he thought for a moment. You know, he said, I may have a solution to your problem. I have 2 male talking parrots, which I have taught to pray and read the Bible. Bring your 2 parrots over to my house, and we'll put them in the cage with Francis and Job. My parrots can teach your parrots to praise and worship, and your parrots are sure to stop saying that phrase in no time. Thank you, the woman responded. This may very well be the solution. The next day she brought her female parrots to the rectory. As the priest ushered her in, she saw that his 2 male parrots were inside their cage holding rosary beads and praying. Impressed, she walked over and placed her parrots in with them. After a few minutes, the female parrots cried out in unison, Hi, we're hookers! Do you want to have some fun? There was stunned silence. Shocked, one male parrot looked over at the other male parrot and said, Put your rosary beads away, Frank. Our prayers have finally been answered. An extremely wealthy man walked into a bar in a popular night spot. As soon as he entered, he noticed a priest sitting quietly in one corner near the bar. He walked over to the counter, removed his wallet, and shouted, Bartender, I'm buying drinks for everyone in this bar, except for that priest over there. The bartender collected the money and began serving free drinks to everyone else in the bar. Instead of becoming upset, the priest simply looked up at the guy and shouted, Thank you and bless you, this really infuriated the wealthy man. So once again he took out his wallet and shouted, Waiter, this time I am buying bottles of wine and additional food for the hundreds in this bar, except for that clergyman sitting in the corner over there. The bartender collected all the money from the man and began serving free food and wine to everyone in the bar except the priest. When the waiter finished serving the food and drinks, the priest simply smiled at the man and said, Thank you and bless you. That made him absolutely furious. So he leaned over the counter and asked the bartender, What is wrong with him? I have bought food and drinks for everyone in this bar except for him, and instead of becoming angry, he just sits there, smiles at me, and thanks me. Is he crazy? The bartender smiled at the wealthy man and said, No, he is not mad. He is also the owner of this establishment and uses the proceeds to help homeless people. May our enemies work unknowingly in our favor. A down-and-out guy looking for work applied at a zoo. The zoo didn't have any openings, but the keeper offered the guy an unusual position. It seems that the zoo's star gorilla had died suddenly, and since it was the main attraction, the zoo didn't want to release the information until a new gorilla had been procured. So the zoo offered the guy a temporary job as a gorilla in a costume, of course, just until they could get a replacement animal. The man spent a full day getting used to his costume and learning how to act and how to move like a gorilla. The most important thing, his trainers said, is that you must never, ever break character. Nobody can ever know that you aren't the real gorilla. In the enclosure, the guy was fantastic. He mimicked the gorilla so well that nobody suspected a thing. One day, he swung a little too high and went over the wall, landing in the lion's enclosure with the large, ferocious beast stalking him and licking its chops. Our gorilla guy frantically searched for an escape. He ran, and of course the lion immediately gave chase. Around and around they went, with the lion gaining ground, and finally, the desperate gorilla, fearing for his life, decided to break character, so he shouted, "Help! Help!" Immediately behind him, he heard the lion growl, "Shut up! Do you want to get us both fired?"